mother's from China and my father's from the UK, and I am a student.
Parents.
My father is a international English primary teacher. My mother used to be a ACCA accountant, but now she's not going to work.
The first question, the most obvious difference between China and British culture that you have experienced your family is childhood manifest in which daily life. For example, in terms of daily festival celebration and family communication methods. Could you give me a specific example?
Let me start with the diet. So when I was young in the UK, it was only me, my brother, and my father. My mum was in China because of visa problems. So at that time, the food portions he would give me is the same food portions as my brother. But later, what my mum thought was that I shouldn't be having the same food portions as my brother since I am a girl. And something that I would also like to say is that the difference in diet is that Chinese, they normally have, the main course would be rice as their start product. But for the British, for Western people, their starch product would be potatoes. And another thing about diet is that in China, it would be mainly optionalized, like there'll be different kind of dishes and then you have a bowl of rice. But in England, you have one plate for yourself and that's it.
Two questions. During your childhood, into your parents' ability that you to understand the culture of one of the parties, how did you accept and interested into culture after that time?
Actually, my parents never told me to accept a culture. Since I was young, my family, they would normally believe in God. So my father would believe in God, my mum would also believe in God. They would both be Christians. Once I was young, I used to go to church, but I would never really believe in God, Buddha and all that stuff. So I'm not really pushed into one corner for that perspective.
It's my question. During the process of growing up, was there any particular stage that made you feel that you find a sense of belonging?
Yes, there was. Because since I was young, I would always go to international schools to study. So since I was young, I used to learn British English and American English. So when I was in the UK, either they will say I'm Chinese, or they will say I'm Chinese and then be racist about it, say Qing Chang Chong, or they will say I'm American. Because at that time I did quite have an American accent. And when I went to China, they will say I'm British. But right now, I don't feel like I don't have a sense of belonging because most people can see that I'm a mix.
How do you correctly to define your cultural identity? And do you learn more towards one particular aspect, or did you consider yourself to have a hybrid identity?
I never really thought about this, but I think that I'm more of a hybrid identity. Like maybe once I was young, I would normally go to the British side, and then since I went to China, so a bit of their culture, the way they speak, and their thinking has also came to me. So I don't really now know how to communicate with British people, with Westerners, but I don't really know how to communicate with Chinese people either that much. So I'm kind of a hybrid, but later I want to go more into the British part.
Have you the cultural background abroad of China and the UK ever give you any unequal advantages in your studies, work, or interpersonal interactions?
Yes. Because since my father he's a British teacher, so he teaches English. So since he is a teacher, I would always go to the schools that he would teach in, and that would normally be international schools. So I'll be able to communicate with different kind of culture people, and also later in life, around secondary, I went to China, and this is because of my mom. She is Chinese, and also because we couldn't get the visa in England. So because my mom is Chinese, we went to China, and this also helped me to learn a new language, which is Chinese. And also going to China has helped me with my grades. Because in the UK, I wouldn't really care about grades. I would get C's and D's. Now I'm getting like B's and A's. So it helped me grow.
Have you ever encountered misunderstanding or trouble due to the cultural differences? How did you resolve this problem?
Yes. I would encounter a lot of misunderstandings, especially with Chinese people, because I don't really communicate with British people anymore. And I don't really remember the misunderstandings, but mainly the way I communicate it and resolve these issues is by explaining my parts of my thinking, like how probably if I'm talking to Chinese people, how British citizens would think, and I would explain it and try to resolve the misunderstanding.
What elements of China and British culture will you like to pass on to the people around you? Are there any particular methods, stories used in the process of trying meeting?
No, there's no particular methods or stories, but some people do ask me about how British people live their life and how they communicate, how is their relationship with their parents, and only when being asked I will tell them about it.
For young people who also growing up in a particular cultural environment, do you have any suggestion regarding the cultural differences that establish self-identity?
I suggest that they should just be themselves. Wherever they're comfortable, they just stay there. They don't need to really care about what other people think. If they want to be, for example, if you're half Indian and maybe half American, if you want to be more Indian, then just stay to the Indian. If you want to be more American, then keep to the American. If you want to be more hybrid, then it's up to you.
Besides this topic method abroad, what other content related to the influence of multicultural in China and the UK do you think you would like to share, or that you hope there will receive attention?
There are two things. One is something I don't really know how to translate, but in Chinese it's called 重男轻女. It's when they normally care more about the son or the male perspective than the female. This in Western culture doesn't really happen. That's what I would like to say. Another one is open-mindedness. Even though China is getting more open and open, I still feel like it's not open enough. And I would appreciate it if it opens a bit more.
Have you ever been classified by others based on your physical appearances as belonging to a certain cultural group?
Yes. When I'm here, they'll normally say 英国 国人，英国小伙子 something like that. Mainly because it's a, I don't know, do I look that English? So yeah.
Have you ever planned the World War over measures when facing the cultural differences between your parents? For example, curbing the idea in a way that both parties understand what were some memorable experience.
No, this has not happened because my mother has been abroad since university. Since the age of 19, she's been abroad, so there's not a lot of cultural difference between my father and my mother, but there are some, but they wouldn't talk about it.